Good morning, everybody. We have a little bit of excitement today because of the CPI data. First major data we've had since the shutdown. Core CPI is 0.2, lower than expected. They were looking for 0.3. Month over month is 0.3 over 0.4, also lower than expected. And year over year, 3% over 3.1, also lower than expected. So all three inflation data points lower than expectations by 0.1%, which has obviously been bullish for ES. ES has taken out a lot of these extended targets above. We had that 807 level. We had that extension from like 15 to 25. And then we have an extension around 41 as well. So our trade plan from last night, if you guys were trading pre-market, that has been completed. Let's go ahead and update some levels here. We don't have any extension levels above 70, and there's not really an easy way to pull new ones right now. So I think that's all we're going to have to work with for now. We're going to say 810. That's the bottom of that upper node where the CPI single prints begin. Holding above that, we're going to look for 41 and let's say 70. Holding below 810 goes to fill in the single prints that go down to around 800. And then possibly yesterday's value high around 79. Typically on CPI, you have this like large move that creates a bunch of single prints. You kind of create a little bit of a value gap. And typically with CPI, that is retested at least a little bit. I'd say like 25 to 50% of that single print zone is highly likely to be retested. Doesn't have to fill it all in, but we do normally see a retest. So if we don't retest that and we start running very aggressively today, I would just be a little bit careful. Know that there could be an afternoon reversal, possibly back down into those single prints. Now, for now, we are definitely seeing a bullish trend, a bullish imbalance. So we don't want to just be shorting looking for the single prints. I'm just telling you to have that as an idea. They do typically get retested. Okay, for NASDAQ, our targets have also been hit, 356 to 440. That zone is being taken out here. We also don't have a way to really get extension targets here. We kind of have to take it node by node today. So holding above the single prints on NQ would be, let's say, 445. We'll look for that overnight high at 523 and the extension level at 605. Holding below that upper node, we're going to look for the single prints to be filled in. That goes down to 395. And then that value level at 283. And it's most likely a capital B. You could shift into a capital P shape very quickly. They typically do that around the open. But there is a lot of value down below, so right now it is a capital B. They need to protect that upper node. All right, let's take a look at some point of origin levels here. So obviously we have the CPI point of origin. We could also mark out the CPI high. It's not exactly a point of origin, but it kind of has that same idea. And realistically, those are going to be like the only ones. We have another, like, probably overnight low we could grab. Couple of overnight lows. And that is about it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Tachi, Scott, Future, Jeremy. I pinned the trade plan for you guys. Morris, Keegan, Banana, Greg, Fernando, Mauricio, Marcel. Good morning, Igor. Tamer, Vu, James, DS, Larry, Adam, AT, Peter, Brad. Good morning, Ashro. Fernando, Ordinary Blood, C-Mac. Appreciate you guys being here. Keep an eye on those EMAs on the open. We'll see if this trend continues. NASDAQ already starting to lose them a little bit. Keep an eye on those CPI single prints. They are being tested already on NASDAQ. They go down to 395. On ES, let's see here. They go down to about 800. Yeah, you can see the CPI candle here has basically no value below 810. Good morning, Linus, Chuck, Angelo, Trevor, Olive, Margin. Keep an eye on VWAP on NASDAQ and on ES. It lines up with that single print zone. Still protecting those single prints. You're not seeing any sell pressure in the actual single print zone. You can see how weak the volume gets all the way down, basically below like 810. And they are protecting it for now. Morning, Gabriel. Thirty-minute low protected, 30-minute high taken out. Are they going to keep that high as support? Needs to stay above 822. If they can, it becomes a little bit more one-directional. Big block trade on NASDAQ, nearly 1,000 contracts, which is very large for NQ. You do not typically see that amount of size on NQ. Here is the upper bound of that CPI move. They have done a good job retesting the CPI move like right away. They retested about like half of it. So realistically, it doesn't really have to go down that much more. It already has tested a large chunk of that actual CPI move. We'll see if we get any more sell pressure in the next like 30 minutes or so. If not, it doesn't look that bad already. Same thing with NASDAQ. This little move down here retested a good chunk of that CPI. Block trades flooding in here. Another 1,100 contracts on ES. This has been the first major data point since the shutdown, and it is extremely bullish. Putting in another node here at 8:30. Let's go ahead and drop this down to the 5-minute. We'll watch this chart on the 30. Moving a little too fast for the 30-minute on the delta. A little bit of a trend profile. Building nodes one directionally. You can see these nodes starting to build up as you are rising. Very flat trend line confirming a trap in the overnight around like 4 to 6 a.m. A little extended on the 1-minute outside that upper band. Still pinching on the 15. Still breaking out on the 5. Pretty damn strong so far. Keep an eye on those EMAs when you break balance like this, when you go into a trend. We need to protect those EMAs. We need to protect those upper nodes. Upper node at 8:30 and 8:25. Watch those 5-minute lows. We break those, you watch the 30-minute lows. So far, everything is still lining up for the buyers. A little bit of a top doji on the 1-minute. Like I said, a little extended on that 1-minute. Good morning, Fatal. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, Rocket. Good morning, Darius, Michael. Five-minute low coming up. We'll see if that gets protected. They are trying to protect that 5-minute low, but there's a decent amount of sell pressure coming in. There's some bullish blocks trying to push you back up. Still seeing that capital B effect. It is slowly shifting into a capital P, where the upper node is getting a lot more value. But you have that lower node kind of acting as a magnet, trying to pull you back down. Potentially a lower high on NASDAQ. 5-minute lows still being protected. Okay, 5-minute lows protected, 5-minute high taken out, so still trending to the upside on the 5-minute. 30-minute, same thing. 30-minute low protected, 30-minute high taken out. Here is that upper portion of that CPI print. A little bit of absorption on that 33 node so far. You can see that capital B is turning a little bit into a P shape, most of the value on the high now. Morning 2013. Good morning, Adriana, Mark, Lubomir. The PMI data at 9:45, 52.2 or 51.9, 55.2 or 53.5. Not a big reaction, no. CPI is the big brother of PMI, so people care more about CPI. 5-minute low possibly being taken out here. A lot of absorption of those buyers at 33. More liquidated. Keep an eye on this 24. We are starting to lose it a little bit. Here comes that value low of the morning session. Five-minute lows being tested here. You can see, it might be easier to see on this chart here. Big node on the top here. Kind of being lost. Little bit of absorption. Keep an eye on those 30-minute lows if it continues. That's that same node as this chart here. What were the bad headlines? I didn't see any headlines that were to be worried about. Oh, the Canada one. Yeah, I saw the Canada one. I don't think the market... Oh, I think my ad has just crashed. Give me 1 second, guys. My PC's been having issues, unfortunately. Things have been crashing on me. What indicator was that on TradingView? It's not an indicator, it's just their built-in volume footprint. Just make sure you have it set to volume footprint and not delta, because their delta is not very good. Yeah, right. Might have to keep the new laptop for myself. No, I think I just need to make some BIOS updates with my processor. My processor's been having some trouble. If the BIOS doesn't fix it, then I'll probably just have to replace the processor. I think the Intel degradation of the chip that I have is finally starting to show, unfortunately. I think it's still under warranty, so as long as I get it replaced in like the next year or so, I think it's okay. What generation? I think it's i9, 13900K or something like that. It's the one that was having like the overheating issue. And I didn't find out about that until like a year later. So it was cooking itself for like a year. I always assumed it was my graphics card that was cooking it. That was pumping out all the heat, but it was actually the processor. Funny enough, that processor runs hotter than the 4090 most of the time. Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's a 13th or 14th, I'm pretty sure. 5-minute low got swept on that last candle. Good morning, Vivian. Possibly turning into a little bit of a vertical chop here. It still wants to go up, but it doesn't have that aggressive buy pressure, mostly responsive. You can see it shifted because it broke this prior high here, very aggressive. And then it broke the high here, very weak. Buyers coming in on the pullback, not on the breakout. Just getting a lot of POC chop right now. They found a level that they like. They like that 26 to like 30 area, and they're just kind of chopping around it. Kind of unrelated, but I'm sure I have at least a couple people in here that trade this market. We talked about that like CSGO skin market a while back, like the original NFT market. They released an update, I think a couple days ago, that took out like I think $1 to $2 billion worth of market cap from that market. People are pissed about it. They basically lost like thousands of dollars per person, whoever was holding skins in that market. Do I have anybody that still trades that market in here? Probably a couple of people. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a video game. It was one of the very first, it basically was the first NFT market. They're not exactly NFTs, they're in-game skins, but a lot of traders actually started from there. But yeah, they released an update that made it easier to acquire things that used to be very rare. So it obliterated the price of these items that were supposedly very rare. Some of them were trading for like $3,000, $4,000, $10,000, and they lost like 80% of their value pretty much overnight. Pretty crazy. Some are hundreds of thousands. Yeah, some are extremely rare. Well, probably not anymore. I wonder if there's still hundreds of thousands. That's why I always thought that market was a little bit weird. Because it's controlled by the game company, right? The game company makes one small change like that, and you're cooked, right? Your entire, like, bankroll of your skins, NFTs, whatever you want to call them, they're pretty much cooked. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I saw that headline yesterday. It's crazy that market is in the billions of dollars of trading volume for just a video game. A lot of traders actually started from there because they got into crypto after trading, because a lot of the skin sites that were selling these skins, buying the skins, whatever, they were crypto based. So a lot of crypto traders back in the day when I was trading crypto were trading that market as well. And then it shifted into more of an NFT market. And then basically the rest is history from there. Here we are now. I don't know how many people still trade NFTs. That market kind of died around a little after COVID. Good morning, Lee. Still just chopping around this POC around like 30 to 25. Yeah, and those skins actually have a little bit of value, right? They're actually like people play the video game and they use the skins, right? They have more value than just a regular NFT. I think that was like the start of me realizing that if you give people a market, they will trade anything, right? Seeing how much that market exploded. And then you had the crypto craze and the NFT craze after that. Now you have people betting on like what color tie people wear to events. Speaking of that, how many days do we have until that next FOMC? Let's take a look. Oh, only 5 days. It's next week. I forgot it was next week. I thought it was I thought that was a minutes. Let me see. Yeah, that is the meeting. Yeah, next week, the 29th. There is a 95% chance of a rate cut, 5.4% or no cut. Yeah, that was the change. The change was they were allowing people to turn the red skins into gold skins. For you people that don't know, the red skins are rare, but they're not super rare. Like they're a lot easier to get than gold. Gold is the rarity. Um, and they're allowing people to like turn what 5 skins or 10 skins into one. So if the knife used to be $10,000, but then you can go buy 5 red skins for $100 each and then turn it into a $10,000 skin, then obviously the market is not where it should be. Keep an eye on the CPI high here. CPI high at 37.50. Like I said, turning more into a vertical distribution. Keep an eye on those EMAs. Keep an eye on those candle lows. I disagree. I think the company should be able to change whatever they want. It's their market, right? That's the risk. That's the risk those people play. I don't think they should make massive changes like that without like a warning. They kind of made that like out of the blue. But they have full liberty to do whatever they please. People shouldn't be putting their life savings into a video game skin. Good morning, Faraj. Oh yeah, this was the 10 o'clock data. Not really high impact. Pretty much exactly as expected. 4.6 over 4.6. Once again, you're seeing the weakness on the aggressive buyers here. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Like people putting their way too much money into things that are like very obviously risky or even like scams, right? All these meme coins. And then they complain that they got rugged or they got scammed. It's like, yeah, it is unfortunate you got scammed, but you got to take some accountability for putting your money into something that is just so obviously a scam. That's why I always preach like protecting your money, right? Capital preservation. There's a lot of things in this world that want to take that money from you. Little bit more aggressive on that pullback, buying the 80 MA instead of the 24. They didn't allow it to come all the way back. Still one time framing on that 30 minute. We put in a big cluster of volume around that 25 to 30. That's where that POC was. Came back down to retest it, and now we're launching off of it. So they are using that as support here. If you guys missed the data this morning, all three CPI prints came in lower than expected, which is seen as bullish, which is why we're running today. All three inflation data points were slightly lower. Aggressive buyers still pretty weak. They bounced off that ADMA, did not get any follow through. Definitely in a vertical distribution here, so keep an eye on those responsive buyers. They need to protect this move. If they do not protect the move, it's going to start cascading downward, losing 5-minute lows, losing 30-minute lows, possibly VWAP, right? Just take it level by level right now. The responsive averages are still pushing you up. Still doing a good job raising value as well. You can see the value is just slowly building up. We had value back here, built up more value here, retested it, and now we're building up value a little bit higher as well. We do have 30-minute gold shading coming in, so they need to find some aggressive buy pressure here, or it's going to start pulling back a little bit. Same thing the last couple of times. They did not find aggressive buyers here, pulled back. They found a little bit here, then pulled back right into that trail. Keep an eye on that first extension level at 841 if it does continue. That would be 605 on NQ. Or Lucio. Difference between absorption and exhaustion. Exhaustion is more like you're trying to break up and you're just not finding any volume whatsoever. So kind of like right here. You pushed up, but then the volume just kind of disappeared. They were exhausted. Absorption is, we don't really have a great example. If we pretend like this is the high, like right above this node, then that would be absorption. If they're buying into a level, but then they're putting in a ton of volume in delta, but it's not going anywhere. That's the main difference. Absorption is a lot of volume, a lot of value, still not getting what you want. Exhaustion is no volume, no value. It's very, very weak. And that's why they're not getting what they want, because they're just not trading there. I mean the exact high, the 30-minute high, the high of the candle. Do I consider divergence a lot on the Momo when in a vertical distribution? You can watch it, but as I say with vertical distributions, you get a lot of sell signals during that just get ignored. That's kind of the entire point of the vertical distribution, right? You put in sweeps, you put in rollovers, you put in bear divs. It just kind of ignores them. So I wouldn't consider it too much, no. If like everything is lining up and you really think that vertical distribution is coming to an end, and then you see a good bear div on the Momo, then you can take that into consideration, right? Like I said in the indicator video, it's all about confluence. Here's that gold shading on the Momo. We have not seen the pullback in momentum on the Momo. So like you see on this one here, you have that momentum coming down. This one here, momentum coming down. And then you start to see those pullbacks, right? We don't have that so far, but we do have a lot of weakness on the candle. The candle's very weak. Very far from that OTS trail as well. OTS trail is down around 98, which on the 30-minute, you do stay pretty far away from it. Down on the lower time frames, you're a lot closer to it, usually. A lot of gold shading, 15, 5-minute, 1-minute gold shading on the top as well, on the Momo. I'm just using the shading indicator that shows the shading on the chart. It's the same exact shading as the Momo. I just have that pulled up so you guys can visually see it easier. Keep an eye on that value node where the POC was. If the POC is lost below like 25, then that becomes a decent amount of trapped buyers up here. I'm not sure what you're asking, Mohammed. Are you asking that when the absorption comes in, the next candle goes back down to retest that absorption candle? It depends on where absorption is, right? If it's bullish or bearish. If it's a very bearish absorption, then yes, it would be pushing price back down. Here's VWAP here. If we lose VWAP, keep an eye on the session VWAP down into 17. This is also the value low. Massive wall here. Look at that wall. Trading over 2,000 contracts on this wall at 30. It is a sell wall. We know that because it's bullish delta. Bullish at the top? What do you mean? What's bullish at the top? That wall is not finished. We do not have a single tick above it. You see how there's not a single tick above 30 there? So you started hitting that wall. You haven't traded a tick above it, so we don't know if it's filled yet. Somebody just has a very massive order there. And we know that it's more than like 2,000 contracts because it's already traded 2,500. Now, it's highly unusual for a wall to be filled in that much and not fully filled in. So this little push down is a little bit worrying. Usually if a wall is filled in that much, you get at least a tick above it. Not really changing anything just yet. You are sweeping that high on the 30-minute, but you have not lost any major levels. You're not losing the 30-minute low yet. You have lost VWAP a little bit. It's kind of in that danger zone, very wide gap between the two VWAPs. A little bit of a choppy zone here. But major levels being lost, not really happening just yet. Just kind of building up this massive node inside of that CPI. Morning, Vaughn. Short term has definitely lost some levels, right? Short term has lost the 5-minute lows, the daily VWAP, the 24 EMA. But on the higher time frames, you're not losing a whole lot just yet. It becomes a big problem if they start losing like 815 to 810. There's VWAP to the tick there. It's because Delta is heavily skewed by blocks and walls, and we have a lot of blocks and walls today. This wall here skews the Delta by over 2,000. So far, bouncing off VWAP to the tick. Yeah, you got to be careful watching the cumulative delta, not only just to like an all-time high, because all-time high kind of skews it a little bit with all the seller levels coming up, like people taking profit into all-time high. But you also have heavy skews on the walls and the block trades, which are also pretty common when you're trading an all-time high as well. You care more about the consistent delta, not like these surges in delta that are pushing it around. That's why I like to look at the clusters, right? We like to see like these clusters of delta that are consistent, they're tied together. I know this chart is very messy. I'm gonna play with this chart on this weekend, try to clean it up and get it kind of back to what we used to look at. I was testing a few things to see if I liked it on this chart, and it's just kind of it's a little messy with how fast we're moving around recently. I'm gonna play around with it before we make those videos on the new series, make sure I have it where I want it. Also, I did speak to Addis, and we will most likely be giving away some licenses. I don't know what size, like what account size, on Addis. And I was also trying to get them to give me like a promo code as well for you guys. So I'll give you guys some answers on that next week to go into our series with the giveaway. Here's that danger zone I talked about. You're bouncing off one VWAP, but you could still fail the other VWAP, right? Funny enough, I've never used Sierra. I've been trading for a long time, and that was one that I just kind of never tested out. Never really had an interest in testing them out. They didn't really look too user-friendly. Addis X? What is Addis X? I've never heard of that. Well, Fallen, you're basically asking me what do I teach on the channel. There's no really easy way for me to answer that question. It's a new version for Mac and Windows? Gotcha. No, I haven't tried that. No, I know they're testing out the Mac version. They're sending out beta test right now. I don't like too much change, right? So I probably won't be testing it out. If it's a newer platform, I like the current one, to be honest. Yeah, I've basically had no issues with Addis. So you guys see my Addis crash a lot, but it's been doing that recently because my processor is shitting the bed. It's not Addis's fault. I'm seeing that across the board on different programs. Before my processor was shitting the bed, it was fine. I didn't have a crash for like, what, 2 years or whatever. Up until this point. So I don't mind their current platform. I like the way it is. Good morning, Mauser. Yeah, Gabriel, so your question is about the walls and how do you determine if it's a buy wall or a sell wall? That's a very easy answer. The answer is if it's bullish delta, it's a sell wall. If it's bearish delta, it's a buy wall. Because if you think about what delta is, it's the difference between market buyers and market sellers. So if the delta is overly bullish, that means there's a lot of market buyers. If there's a lot of market buyers, what are they buying into? They are buying into limit sellers. What is a wall? A wall is a massive amount of limit traders. So therefore, if the therefore, if the delta is very bullish, that means it's a sell wall because they are buying into limit sellers, right? So in this case, the delta is overly bullish, therefore it is a sell wall. And this is what I was talking about earlier about how it is highly unusual that this wall got filled in by 2,500 contracts or more, but we did not have a single tick above it. Typically, if a wall is being filled in that much, it is going to be fully filled in. It's not fully filled in until we see a tick above it. So this move down is highly unusual. And it looks like it's trying to go back and fill in that wall. We'll see what it does. You have that danger zone in between the VWAPs here, kind of going back and forth. Without order flow, would the difficulty of trade be increased a lot? I don't think it would like be a make or break thing. Like if I didn't have access to order flow, I don't think it would make me a bad trader. Like I don't think I would lose my profitability, but it definitely would hurt a little bit. It would make trading harder. It wouldn't be the difference between being profitable or not profitable, at least in my case. Like I still have so many other things that would support me, right? I have all my indicators on TradingView. I have all my volume profile stuff. I have many other things I could use in my trading. The delta order flow stuff is just the cherry on top, right? It gives you that added bonus. And that's why it's at the end of my series, right? It's the thing that comes at the end that just kind of helps you. It pushes you over the edge where it gives you that little push. Yeah, Chris, I think what I'm going to do, if it does continue to give me issues, I'm going to do what you said, basically. That was my same idea about, like, getting it replaced, but also just getting a new one. So I'm going to try a few more things. I actually have not played with the BIOS at all. I've done everything except for the BIOS. Which is probably ass backwards. I probably should have did the BIOS stuff first, to be honest. I'm not a very tech-savvy person when it comes to stuff like that, so I really hate playing around in the BIOS because I know you can break shit in there. So I try to do everything else first. Yeah, the last thing I'm going to do is fix all the BIOS stuff, and then if it still gives me issues, I'm going to do the hardware stuff. Right now, it's not that big of a deal. It crashes my Addis and a few other programs like every now and then. But it's not like impeding my everyday use of it. It's just kind of an annoyance right now. Learned my lesson messing with BIOS? Yeah, I really try not to. It's weird though, because it's running at like the normal clock speed. I've done bench tests, benchmarks or whatever you call them. I've done those and it runs at like what it says it should run at. It runs at the temperature it says it should run at. Could be like a RAM issue too, but I'm just assuming it's a processor issue because I know it has issues. Yeah, on paper, it does everything that it's supposed to do. All right, guys, today is pretty much the same as yesterday. I don't commentate a whole lot when we're chopping around the POC because the POC is a 50-50 level. So if you guys are new to my channel, I don't trade a whole lot around the POC. I don't trade a whole lot around these like 50-50 chop zones. If you guys are wondering why I'm not like overly commentating, that's why, right? We're just kind of chopping around this POC. You still have an obvious bullish bias. They are still protecting the lows of the 5-minute candles, of the 30-minute candles. The value is still shifting to the upside. So the bias is still obviously bullish. Hey, Scott, have a good weekend, man. Once again, I appreciate the donation earlier this week, man. I appreciate that. You're a good man. Have a good weekend. Yeah, the thing is, Chris, though, is like that would be like an easy fix if my temps were very high. Right? Like, wouldn't that be the red flag of like, oh, my temps are getting way too high, I should probably check the thermal paste? My temps aren't getting that high anymore. My temps are where it should be. Keep an eye on that CPI high around 37. I say it runs hot because it does run hot, like it's hot as shit. But it's not hot compared to what it should be running at. It was running hot for like the first year or two. But now it's got down to a stable level. So like you said, it probably did melt all that thermal paste. But yeah, the thing is, Chris, though, is like that would be like an easy fix if my temps were very high. Right? Like, wouldn't that be the red flag of like, oh, my temps are getting way too high, I should probably check the thermal paste? My temps aren't getting that high anymore. My temps are where it should be. Keep an eye on that CPI high around 37. I say it runs hot because it does run hot. But it's not hot compared to what it should be running at. But that doesn't seem to be the issue right now. The temps are good. Where was that wall? I think we took that wall out. Yeah, we did. Okay, so the wall is taken out now. The wall was at 30. So this is exactly what I was talking about. We don't see this very often, so I can't really give you guys a lot of examples of this. But right here is a prime example of what happens when you have a wall that is traded so heavily, but you do not have a tick above that wall. This is telling you that we don't know if that wall is fully filled in. Right. We don't know it's fully filled in until we see a single tick above it. Because then we can say, okay, everything at that level is done. So seeing that push down here, that's a little shady, and then you finally had that push up, and it repaired that wall. You could get spikes because of the pace. Yeah, it does seem to spike a little bit. You are right about that, for sure. I have watched the temps, like when I'm looking at my fan curve, and it spikes a lot. Usually it will spike from, like, say, 55C, maybe 60C to, like, 75C, 70C. That could also just be how the fan control is reading it. I've seen that on forums that people talk about the way the fan control reads it is not 100% accurate. Lower high on the 5-minute? Yeah, kind of. Usually when you have a really big impulse and then you have a lot of chop like this, it's almost always a vertical distribution. So you got to be careful with that. The lows are still being protected. You tried to break that 30-minute low, look at the sweep here. We're just waiting for it to get away from this POC node. The POC is acting as a magnet. Yeah, going back to what we talked about last time, Chris, about the thermal paste, it's like when it gets to that level, I have to take the cooling unit off, right? And then I have to take the processor and then do the cooling, yada, yada, yada. If I'm doing all that, I might as well just buy a new one. Because buying a new one's just one more step of just plugging it in and then doing all that stuff over again anyway. And it's probably under warranty anyway, so that's probably what I'll do next. Like I said, right now it's just kind of a nuisance. It's not really a detrimental problem. Do I prefer volume profile or TPO? Volume profile, definitely. TPO is just an added bonus on top of volume profile. It gives you a couple more signals. Or patterns, I should say. Keep an eye on that session VWAP coming back up at 818 and 457 on NASDAQ. This is the danger zone between those two VWAPs. They're kind of both acting as magnets and chopping you around here. Hey Azul, I appreciate that. Let me see if I got it. Did you send it to my admin email or my giveaway email? The admin one? Let me see. Keep an eye on VWAP here, guys. 457 and 818 being ignored, completely nuking VWAP here. Yeah, I do see it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll get that fixed after stream today. Come on, Nitro. Yeah, I appreciate it, Zul. A little bit of a VWAP trap there, sliced right through VWAP and then instantly reclaimed it. Still not threatening those single prints from the CPI. Anything below 810 is a problem. A lot of Friday chop. Yeah, it does typically retrace the same day. We did retrace a lot of it already. Well, not on ES, mostly on NASDAQ. On ES, we retraced about, if you consider the high, we retraced about half of it. On NASDAQ, we retraced also about half of it. Almost exactly half of it, actually, funny enough. Yeah, it's literally almost right on that 50%, like to the tick. So they still had that like 50% retrace that we typically see. We just still have those single prints left open if they want to start filling those in.
Sorry guys, I'm just using this chop to play around with my chart settings. I haven't really liked how this middle chart has been looking. Trying to get it to a better place. Order flow charts are always a finicky process because they're pretty complex charts, so getting them just right is a little bit of a pain. Well, Mauricio, it sounds like you already know why you got stopped out. If you got stopped out because of the news scandal, then that's kind of what got you, right? If you're trading around like big data like CPI, FOMC, all that stuff, there's not really anything you can do to predict what's going to happen on those moves. It's like trading around earnings. Like you're just going to get a lot of unexpected price action, unfortunately. Yeah, Leo, I trade during the stream. You guys just don't see my trades. And like I said, I don't trade a lot around like POC chop like this. So if I'm being quiet, it's because I'm not really commentating on the back and forth like 50-50 chop. I don't overly commentate on like very choppy markets like the POC chops, vertical distribution chops, stuff like that. Why you guys are seeing me play with my chart settings here. I'm not really paying attention to price action entirely. I think my chart's getting a lot better. I think it's a lot more readable already. Hey, Patriot, have a good weekend, man. We'll see you on Monday. What do you guys think? You guys think this chart's a lot more readable than how it was? It's pretty much the exact same data. I just changed the color scheme a little bit. 100% is better? Okay. So I didn't change anything. It's still the delta on the left, volume on the right. I had the right side coloring the profile based on delta, but I never really liked the way that it looked. It was really good at showing absorption, but that was about it. Everything else, it was pretty sloppy. So I'm going back to how I had it, where it's just colored based on volume, and now the left side is colored based on delta. And then I just fixed how big the clusters are in the middle because they were getting a little obnoxious. All right, time to start paying attention here. Getting very aggressive, pushing away from this POC node. Getting a little bit extended on that ADMA. We'll see if it can hold above those averages. If it can stay above those EMAs, then we are looking for a break of balance into those extension targets that we talked about on the trade plan. Guys, stop asking me about my trades, please. It's literally one of the only rules I have in chat. You guys are asking me too much today about my trades. You guys have watched the stream for a while, you'll probably start picking up on hints on when I'm trading and when I'm not trading. If you care that much. There's a reason I don't show my trades on stream, right? It'd be pretty pointless if I wasn't showing my trades on stream, but then I was talking about my trades every single time I took them. If I wanted you guys to know every detail about my trades, I would just show them on stream, right? Okay, trap signal on the 5-minute Momo. We have a trap on the Momo and the OTS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by the dip signals on that trail, breaking that 5-minute pivot. Breaking a 30-minute pivot as well. Still very topped out on the on the Momo on the 30-minute. Very strong momentum to the upside. Hey, Homer, you joined at a perfect time. I posted a new video Wednesday, on indicators. I talk about the Momo and OTS and how I use all these indicators in my trading, so be sure to check that out. It is the third video in the Becoming an Apex Trader series. If you guys have any questions about the indicators that I use, I highly recommend watching that. You had a ton of bullish block trades. All these diamonds, these are all bullish block trades, right? The red diamonds obviously would be bearish. You had this massive cluster of bullish blocks on that first push up. I guess second push up if you include the CPI. We need to see if they can actually have some follow through, find any buy pressure above those block trades. By the way, look at the liquidity. It's been very, very good. Even with the CPI today, liquidity is back to where it was before it dropped off a cliff. We were trading at like 10 to 20 contracts per tick, and now we're back to where we were before, around that 60 to 80 contracts. You can see the tape, we're barely getting any level 2 orders, and the level 2 orders that we are getting are basically block trades, very large orders, so that's completely fine. Getting a couple of those blue orders every now and then is, let me save this actually before my Addis crashes and I lose all that work I just did. Yeah, sorry, what was I saying? The level 2, it's okay to see a little bit every now and then, but you don't want to see big blocks of blue orders all the time. Look at the difference in the price action now. Very aggressive, staying above that 80 MA on the breakout here. They're picking a bad time to break. They're breaking right on that 30-minute close. They have 7 minutes left. If they push this for the next like 5 to 7 minutes, they will be creating single prints going back down to that breakout, which is right around here, around 38. If they want to protect that candle, this breakout is going to fail. Hey, Trades, I just saw your question from earlier. He said, what's the dotted line? That is VWAP. The dotted line is the session VWAP. The solid red and green line on the top left is the daily VWAP. Yeah, PL, so I'm actually in talks with them right now because our next 2 videos in the series, I'm going to be talking about Addis with like the volume profile and the order flow stuff. So I'm trying to get them to give me a promo code and some accounts that I can give away for you guys. And they said that they were possibly going to do both. I don't have a 100% guarantee just yet, but next week I should know. So we might be able to get a promo code and some accounts for you guys. But yeah, they're talking to their team right now to see what they can give us for the series. So I'll give you guys an answer next week. Yeah, David, that pattern is very strong. It went away for a little bit, but it did come back recently, where the initial balance gets put in. You break one side of the initial balance, the other side is most likely the low of day or the high of day. So in this case, it would be the low of day, right? Very unlikely to go all the way back down and take out that initial balance low. That pattern has been quite strong recently. Yeah, I think they're off for the week, like for the weekend. But I should have an answer by like Monday or Tuesday. That's the level 2 that I'm always talking about. That's that blue order. It means it's hitting the level 2, it's not hitting the level 1, meaning that it's the value of that trade, how many contracts that's trading, is larger than the level 1. What you guys would consider like slippage. It's not exactly slippage, but that's the easiest way to understand it. They're trying to repair this 30-minute candle. They're trying to keep it down below like 38 so you don't have a bunch of single prints coming up. They have 3 minutes left. Buyers are still quite aggressive. They are holding above that 80 MA. So you might have a couple of single prints. We'll see if it forms like 1 or 2. If you've already done like most of your trial, then it's not going to work. But if you open up a new account using that link down below, you can just use like a new email. Just send me an email. Let me know what email you signed up with. I can send that over to their team and they'll get you extended for 30 days. And the trial that is granted on that 30 days, I believe is still a full access trial where you basically have everything. And I believe, I'm not certain, but I know before they were giving you guys a promotion either like during that trial or towards the end of that trial. I don't know if they're still doing that. But there was like a student promotion basically for being a member on my extended trial. But yeah, basically just sign up using that link. Let me know what you signed up with, and I'll send it to their team. Have a good week in English. It's just a block trade, another big block trade on NASDAQ. It was 940 contracts, almost identical to what we saw earlier. You're just seeing a lot of big boys getting involved because of CPI. CPI typically brings out the block trades and the walls. Notice where they are sitting on this 30-minute candle. It is exactly like to the tick where they have to be to not create single prints. They are respecting this 30-minute candle. And there you go. They closed exactly where they needed to. There are no single prints there, so now they are safe to run for the next 30 minutes. Well, realistically, the next, like, 25 minutes, because then they would have to repair the candle again. But all right, guys, we're going to call it there. I appreciate you guys being here as always. Enjoy your weekend. I will be back on Monday. Monday will also be the Q&A for our most recent video. Here's the link to that video if you guys have not checked it out yet. That is the third video in our 5-part series, Becoming an Apex Trader. We talk about the path of all the different things that I've taught over the last, like, 10 years, right? I'm talking about what you should learn and kind of the step-by-step process on how you should learn it. So be sure to check that video out before Monday. If you guys have any questions on that video, put them in the comments. I will get to them during the Q&A on Monday, which is going to be at the market close. If you guys can make it to that live stream, that would be awesome. It's going to be around like 4 to 4:05 p.m. Eastern time when the market closes, right? So we'll do our normal stream in the morning and then our Q&A stream on Monday. And then get ready for our next video, which will be the volume profile video on possibly Wednesday or Thursday next week. If you guys want to support the channel and get involved in the giveaway, you can use code BREW on Apex. They have an 80% off sale going on right now. So be sure to check it out. If you guys do sign up for any new accounts, just keep those receipts and send them over to my giveaway email. It's giveaway.dejavutrading@gmail.com. So be sure to send those over. I'll get you guys added to the giveaway. Speaking of the giveaway, all of you guys that have sent me your tickets over the last few weeks, I will be doing a random giveaway this weekend. So be on the lookout on your emails. I'll be giving away Discord access and some Apex accounts this weekend. So be sure to keep an eye on your emails. For the price action right now, we are in a little bit of a vertical distribution, but right now it's a bit strong. It might turn into a vertical distribution, so be careful. If it starts retesting that 24 EMA, it starts coming back down towards those 5-minute lows, 30-minute lows, then it will be slightly more of a vertical distribution than an uptrend. But as of right now, very, very bullish. They did retest that 50% of the CPI almost to the tick, almost exactly at the 50% mark on NASDAQ. On ES, I think it's a little bit higher than 50%, but they have done that retest, so they are a bit safe to climb here. Keep an eye on those extension targets. We do have the extension targets above. Just watch that trade plan that I put out. Here's that extension target damn near to the tick on ES. That target is 841. That is literally where we are to the exact tick right now. The extension target on NASDAQ would be 605. So keep an eye on that. One more breakout, and you should get to that 605. But all right, guys, if you're in Discord, I will see you guys there for the rest of the day. If you're not in Discord, enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you guys on Monday. Peace, everybody.